But I know it was a fat, so I didn't know who he was facing right offhand. And they're off. Great John is off to a lead on my screen here by a good 7-8. We'll have to get some syncing going on here, but
All right, so last race we had dueling magnets. So we had the same route. Here we are seeing neither runner do magnet. We are seeing a top first from Great John and a Gemini first from Meteorwave, a blast from the past.
I know you wouldn't recommend Gemini.
So Gemini does have its advantages. We didn't really get a chance to talk about it much in the last race. So top first being the fastest route, magnet first being the safest route. Gemini first, in my opinion, is one of the best. Like, it's a good route to start with to learn how to do the hardest stage. So this is the stage that's going to absolutely terrorize you when you're learning this game. And by doing Gemini first, you're going to get better at it quickly, because you're going to fail here a lot, and you're going to get a lot of practice at doing, these difficult screens. So
The clip.
starting with Gemini first and then switching to, one of the other routes will make you a lot more comfortable when you start to have to do the stage third or fifth. So we've seen that. We've seen that from other runners that have started with Gemini first and then gone on to even improve their time with other routes with a confident Gemini. So we're seeing Great John take, multiple jumps there to kill the cat. The cats take 10 buster shots. In order to actually save time with top first over magnet, it's really recommended to be able to match those cats well. That said, you're playing with a few extra seconds here over the magnet first route, so you can be inefficient in certain places. And
We talked about that.
Yeah, that's a bold move. I give John a lot of credit for going for that, but that death is going to cost him about 40 seconds. If you're wondering how to do those jumps without stopping, so John did a very small jump before he did the last jump, and I would recommend trying to do full jumps on each of the tops. That's the safest setup that I've found. And when he did the small jump, he just didn't give the top time to get high enough to actually make that jump. We'll see if he chooses to play it a little safer here. A lot of times, you go for something really difficult once, and then you'll kind of pull it back on the second attempt. But what a guy!
That was a much cleaner first jump there, I could see. What Meteorwave did was a very standard, safe Gemini section there. He took the damage boost, which I'm sure he takes in the same spot every single time, so he knows exactly what's going to happen and where he gets boosted to, so he can jump out of it and not have any problems dying and not get hit and fall off.
Yeah, so that first phase he went for on Gemini is a pretty standard, I think that laser would have killed him.
Probably.
It looked like he has 6 health, but I can't quite see. It might be 7. But yeah, he killed him right before that laser hit him. But he does that little 2-hit weave where you get, you hit each clone twice on the ground, and it's a pretty stable way. I would really recommend that way of learning the fight when you're first learning this game, both with Buster and Shadow Blade. Oh.
Get to see the next part of Gemini, which is into Needle and top into Shadow.
I forgot to tracker for the first of 10 times in this race.
We don't have to see the magnet missile strat and Shadow Man. Be a problem. He'll be doing the top strat.
Yeah, so we're going to see a Buster screen 2 of Needle here. We saw magnets in the previous run. So this one, a little bit. You have to go a little bit slower, mainly because of those turrets he had to kill, take 3 hits, and then that one met that he dropped down to kill. You can actually jump over the top with magnet. Like, small differences, but magnet's a little faster in that screen. This dark room that John is going through is my favorite screen in the game. There's just a lot of jumps, a lot of slides, a lot of enemies to kill. It's a very active screen, and there's like a million different ways to do it. So Meteorwave choosing to Buster the Porcupine and then kill these guys with laser. There's a couple different ways you can do that as well. John taking the safe way through this top section.
Very safe.
Yeah, that section can be very difficult to do fast. Whereas if you do it that way, it's a pretty safe screen, but it goes a little slower.
You got
Oh, Nadua. Yeah, that one's gonna ricochet into him. But he's running low on health here, so gotta be careful. The needles do 3, and Needleman himself does 4, but the headbutt does 6. So okay, cool. He stayed away from him wisely. Dealt with the Gemini trick shots to get the kills. So 2 bosses down for each. Now John gets to go ahead and do Gemini. So he's gonna have he's gonna have Shadow Blade for Gemini, which both gives him the ability to speed up the fight. It gives him the ability to speed up the single block room if he so chooses. And it also gives him a couple of different tools for the single block room, both Shadow Blade and Rush Marine, to ease his way through that room if he so chooses.
entering what you consider the easiest stage of the 8, correct?
Yeah, contrary to Friedel's name, Spark is the actual free stage. That said, there's definitely a couple sections that are a little scary when you're learning the game, so it's not free for everybody. It's one of those things that when you've been playing this game a long time, it should be the most consistent, but definitely a couple of tricky sections. We see Meteor coming up to one of them here. Plays it safe, waiting on a couple of the blows.
In Gemini.
So we haven't seen, I don't believe we've seen a runner get the zip yet.
Yeah, I don't
in
think
these
so
two races. There's a trick there where when you're coming out of your slide, Mega Man's head is still stuck up in the ceiling. And if you get hit while that happens, there's a 4-frame window. You actually get pushed through. The game doesn't have anywhere to put you and just zips you through to the right. Saves a couple seconds. It's the only real zip this game has. It has a couple mini zips, but that's the biggest zip this game has.
It seems like you would guess, given how much zipping is possible in Mega Man 2, that they put a lot of effort into eliminating that possibility, or maybe they got rid of those items that you can zip with.
Yeah,
replacing with Rush.
I think I'm not sure which it was. I'm not sure. Let's say you had item 1 in this game. Would it allow you to push? Would it allow it to push you in the ceiling? I think this game deals with collision detection probably differently, but I don't really actually know that.
Do that. Make item 1 possible in Mega Man 3 and see what happens.
All right. So this is the tricky part about gauging races here. So Meteor has his 3rd Robot Master complete, and John has not yet done so. But with the length of the stages, it's a little hard to tell who's actually ahead. Spark is a pretty short stage, but Shadow is as well. And then when you compare Top to Needle, Needle's the shortest stage in the game. So by route, you would say that Meteor's gone through some of the shorter stages first.
The one death, that's the one thing that you think that greatjhon is ahead, is that he didn't have the death that Meteor Wave had.
John actually took the death in Top.
That's right. I've taken one. Maybe I'm totally missed it.
I don't recall a Meteor.
I think so. Okay, so yeah, all right. So disregard what I just said. Continue on past. As you can
generally gauge by their PBs, greatjhon's strats are a little faster. His movement's a little faster. When there's a 5-6 minute gap in PBs, there's a reason for it. Typically, it's usually not due to luck. And so John is gonna make up the time from that 40-second death just through strats and movement. But in a race, it's anybody's game, because obviously the faster your strats and movement are, particularly in a sliding mega. So when I say good movement, that means cutting your jumps over pits as tight as you possibly can. Sliding as soon as you land. Little things like that if you try to optimize them too tight, you might end up dying. And then strats, of course, we saw, John pay the price for going for a faster strat. And, you can give back that time and deaths, and then, assuming you take a game over, that can be a huge time loss depending on where you take it. So that's why races like this are always interesting to watch, especially when the faster runner dies and the slower runner does not. Or I should say the runner with the slower PB. Yeah.
the things that you like when I was doing the randomizer tournament is like one of the biggest things to commentate on is who you think was ahead based on what they've done and what they have left to do.
Right.
So this is very similar in that regard.
Right. And so now we see John do the shortest stage of the 8 robots, which is Needle, and now he's teleporting out of his 4th robot before Meteorwave. And, you know, the differences in the Robots Masters left, they only have Hard and Snake in common, and then the other two are different. So, be interesting to see as we go along. I would say that John will probably be the first to finish with 8 robots if he doesn't die again. But if he does, then I think it's going to end up being really close.
Common strat in Gemini first on the B skip or despawn, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way to, like, a first way to learn that screen rather than trying to deal with like killing the bees, because you know Meteor has the tools. He has the magnet and he has rush coil, so he can kill the bees. But it's really difficult, especially the rush coil kill of the 3rd one, to learn. And so it's a lot simpler to just slide backwards and despawn them. Probably costs like 2 to 3 seconds. It's not a huge deal. You know, obviously when you're starting to fight for those seconds when you're trying to PB, that's one of those strats you want to look at and be like, okay, maybe I can try it, see if I can learn that. But when you're first learning this game, sliding backwards to despawn them is, you know, totally fine strat. Or not even if you're first learning, but, you know, before you start to, you know, really try to optimize it.
Interesting strat. Gemini on the Met Dozers, which if the Gemini laser tinks, it doesn't bounce, does it? It just...
So there's actually, that's an interesting thing. There's 3 parts to the Gemini laser, and that's why it lags the game so much. It actually is composed of 3 different hitboxes. So the first one can tink, and the second one can tink, but all 3 are not going to. So the Gemini laser is going to hit it every time. I used to think that the Gemini laser was actually ricocheting off of its like helmet and hitting it, but that's not what's happening. It's the multiple hitboxes that cause it to always land. The Gemini laser strat there, actually, it's like fallen out of favor. We don't really see it anymore, but that was the world record strat when I started learning this game. And actually, as far as VSON's 3445, Gemini laser was still the world record strat for that screen. So very briefly here, we have both runners in the same stage.
I was just noticing that myself. So while they had some stages in common left to do, they're not going to do them at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible they'll both end with Snake, but not super likely. We'll see what they choose to do here. The old Gemini first route, which I think Meteorwave learned from, typically does Shadow last. We'll probably see top Snake Shadow. You can do top Shadow Snake, and it's not... I think the only thing it changes is a menu. But yeah, we might not see a like conversion until actually after the full 8 robots. And then even then they might go to different Doc robot stages, but at least we'll be able to tell from their, you know, teleport out of the 8th robot stage how close this race actually is. We can tell though they've both done 5 Robot Master stages, so it's close.
How'd you like that top man strat on the?
Hey, I like it. So I'm a big proponent of topspin, and people can attest that as long as I've been streaming Mega Man 3, there's someone that's going to come in and make fun of topspin, and I'm going to counter with it's a very, very powerful weapon, and people just don't know how to use it. It one shots like half the enemies in this game, like the monkeys. So there you go, good strat.
Work on the cats. Like, I mean, you can't ever use them against the. I guess you can't ever use it against the cats. So unless there's cats and wires, I don't think there are. What are some other? Like Mega Man is known for the mini boss. Are there any other in?
Yeah, you have the Penguin Makers in Gemini Man stage. You have the Giant Mets and Doc Needle. There's probably another one.
I'll work against them. They hit some, and then you take hit, and then you kill them.
So the way that topspin works in this game against basic enemies, non-bosses, basically enemies without iframes, it'll either like kill them in one shot, like because it will just pierce through them, or they're immune to it. Like that was their way of dealing with like how broken topspin is they just had to make a lot of enemies take 0 damage from it. It doesn't partially damage anything.
Well, unfortunately.
the three cycle top man fight, which nobody wants. So John is going to do Spark Blast. So we have no chance of these routes syncing up before they actually finish with 8 robots, and then we'll see what order they decide to do their dock bots in.
In the shadow. You'll use in Gemini first. You'll be using magnet missile more likely than top spin.
Yeah, if you have magnet is definitely the way to do the end of shadow. John, going through Snake Man stage, so we saw a little earlier, we kind of talked about it, how, first of all, Rush Jet is just also completely broken in this game. It's really, really useful. And you see that you pretty much use Rush Jet throughout the entire stage. There's mini bosses right there. The giant snakes, forgot about those. And yeah, you can just fly right over them. And you basically will just use Jet to skip any challenge that this stage actually has to offer you. So if you're going to ask me, and this question comes up, like what's the worst route, I would say Snake first, because like any route where you don't have Jet for Snake is the worst. This is probably like the single.
No, just looking at, you can't. I mean, maybe you could coil that, but you're still waiting for the coil to go.
There's not really a very fast way to do that last section. And you can zip past the snake mini bosses, but that's tough to do fast, and also you're risking taking a lot of damage. But yeah, there's just a lot of obstacles that the Jet helps speed up.
Some people do needle first. Why? Just to get the Jet?
Because they like it. Honestly, if you ask both of them, I think, well, I mean, to get Jet is a good enough reason. I know of 3 runners that do needle first, and I think they just do it because they like it. I think they have more fun with that route.
Edible.
Okay, so both on their last Robot Master here. Snake is particularly much longer than Spark, so Snake is probably conservatively like 25 seconds faster or shorter of a stage than Snake. So we're going to see John kind of expand this lead before we get to the 8 robots, just because of how much shorter the stage is, assuming he doesn't take a death here in Spark. But they are still within half a stage of each other. Basically, 1 death kind of puts this on even footing, depending on where the death is.
It's greatjhon, because meteorwave takes a death. That would be not good.
That would be tragic. We don't want to see anybody die.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
I mean, I like commentating close races, but I never want to see anybody die.
I thought the skip though with this big snake involved Rush Jet, or am I?
So you can. Basically, the old Snake Zip is you don't use Jet. You just kind of walk along his body up until you get right underneath him, and then you like slide away from him at the right time, and you'll clip through. There's a recent strat found by Darko where you can use Jet to actually slide along the body, and it makes the strat a little bit faster. But it's not required for the Zip.
Faster than just jumping over him? Or just flying over him, I mean?
It would be faster than flying over him if you can pull it off. I think Darko's estimate was about 0.8 seconds faster per snake for like a perfect zip.
To get 0.8, you gotta have to have a good frequency of a good rate of doing it. We were mentioning that earlier.
Yeah, failing it there can lead to disastrous consequences, because it might be hard to set up the zip a second time. You might not be able to. Sometimes in some tricks you fail something. If you fail it, you get to just try again right away. In this case, you can get put out of position where it can be difficult to do so.
Block slides
So
here.
John did die.
No, he's doing Doc Spark.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I am completely lost. We went from Spark to Doc Spark and threw me off.
Interesting strategy. I think you're used to. I don't know. I don't know if going to the same stage is done differently. That's just that might throw off my rhythm or timing if I were to do that. I'd want some sort of buffer stage to not do the same stage again.
On the plus side, if you like Spark music, you get to hear it for quite a bit. A lot of people would rate this as one of their favorite tracks in the game.
I can give you my ranking of it.
I'm sure
I
you
tend
can.
to do that. You don't know. I kind of have a affinity for this type of music, so I kind of, even though I don't run the game, I kind of have a fondness for the music of it. So I definitely, I talk about it kind of a bit, and I've done a ranking stream of the music of the NES games, so I refer to that fairly often.
I'd be curious to catalog in this tournament how, like, what the breakdown is of which first stage people choose to do. I think I've seen more Doc Gemini than anything else. Ooh. This first screen is brutal. We've seen a couple runners die here now.
Unexpected if anybody dies on this first screen, including you.
Yeah, I die here probably more than any screen in the Doc Robots. That's why this stage is first for me, because if I die here, I want my reset to be quicker. But yeah, we've seen, I think we've probably seen every Doc Robot first at least once in this tournament. And so yeah, I'd be curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quickman is the most difficult fight in this game. And that's a reason you see a lot of people do this stage first.
It's quick and wood.
Yes, wood is very difficult as well.
I could never jump over the...
So he took one body hit, but he got hit by the boomerangs the second time. He got hit by the body the third time. Gotta be careful. He's... Oh! Okay. I think he could have taken one more boomerang hit before. I think he was okay. It's hard for me to see the health, but when Quickman is bearing down on you like that, and you have, like, because basically if you're firing from Snake, a lot of times you're firing from directly underneath him, and so a lot of times you have this scenario where you're either waiting for Snake's to despawn or you're waiting for his invincibility frames to run out, and you're trying to fire at him from beneath you and just hoping you hit him before he hits you. So there we see the longer flash in the Flashman fight. He freezes and shoots multiple bullets, whereas in the Japanese version, for some reason, I don't know if it was a glitch that they fixed, but he freezes you for almost no time at all and shoots one bullet at you.
Imagine it's something they fixed, but seems like way too easy a fight, even for Flashman.
Yeah, it's still a tricky fight only because of the way Flashman behaves. He just likes to follow you, and it can be tough to shake him sometimes when he gets, like, right up in your hitbox. Especially because of how hard it is to turn around and fire in this game, because you can't really do it from the ground quickly. You pretty much have to be midair or at a dead stop to turn around and fire, like, right away. And so if you're running away from him and not jumping, you can't turn around and hit him in time until he's, like, right on top of you. So, and then the terrain of the fight makes it a little tricky. But yeah, it's much more difficult in this fight. We'll see it again here on the right side.
Doc Robot does have a bigger hitbox than the normal Robot Masters, right?
It does, actually, and it has a bigger hitbox than the Robot Masters had in Mega Man 2 as well, which is why, like, for instance, the Woodman fight is... Ooh. That's why the Woodman fight, it's so much more difficult to jump over the Leaf Shield, because the hitbox of him and the Leaf Shield are bigger than they are in Mega Man 2.
Both jetted over that water section.
Yep, can't argue with that. Very solid, safe strat. That section, even for the elite of the elite, they die in that screen a lot. This is this is just a really challenging stage. It's relentless. They actually did that beetle screen very similarly too, where they went all the way to the ladder and dropped off it.
Oh no, it doesn't look like a.
Yeah, we're not going for a music despawn there on Meteor's stream. We'll see what happens when John gets there. So John got a kill in the very middle of the screen there, which is not a minor thing in this speedrun, in aggregate, because basically the victory fanfare doesn't play until all the explosion sprites leave the screen. And so if you're able to kill the boss in the middle of the screen, they'll all leave at the same time, and it'll happen more quickly. Whereas if you kill them in the corner, you have to wait for the furthest one to track all the way across. So anytime you're able, either by manipulating the boss or by pure luck, to kill him in the center, you're saving some time.
John, get it? He had a weird setup, it looked like.
I'll be able to tell, because I don't have sound when I'm listening to. When we get to this section here, once the 3 eyeballs spawn on the screen. Well, he killed him, so I'm not sure. It looks like he got it. My untrained eyes. Those gates are tough.
Yeah. See, watch him. See, he'll probably do it again. Watch his setup.
Oh, he's doing the Darko setup. So that setup should be 100% as long as you execute it right. You can get subpixeled with some of the other setups where you have a small chance of not getting it. This one takes a little bit of extra time to set it up in such a way that you should be guaranteed to have the right subpixel when you get there. So it looked like the execution was correct. If it wasn't, he probably would have died. So he should have the music despawn here.
Tell, you can kind of look at him back to back and see a little bit of slowdown at times.
Right.
Meteorwave.
So yeah, we talk about the gates there being difficult. You just don't have a lot of time to jump off them. I couldn't tell what happened to John. It looked like he might have accidentally slid off the first one. Or maybe he landed too far on the right and walked off of it.
But that's what I kind of... Now, Meteorwave did not get the double hit on heat. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so you can actually get 2 hits on... So basically when you hit Heat Man, he goes invulnerable and charges up and goes towards you. And you can't hit him while he's in that invulnerability period. And so usually when you hit him, you can only hit him once before he goes back into that. If you happen to do damage to him on the first frame that he reappears, he actually it won't trigger him going invulnerable, so you can get 2 hits in. So a well-executed fight will actually get one of those double hits and cuts out an entire invulnerability cycle, which typically is in the 1 to 2 second.
A little bit of bad luck for greatjhon there, because you'll hear Fast talk about this a lot, where he absolutely hates drops and they cause him problems. But you do kind of want a drop or 2 of small weapon energy in Shadow,
right,
just so you can finish off with magnets.
Yeah, so in order to kill all the Hammer Joes and then all the enemies in that screen, you need to actually get 2 small refills at the minimum. Otherwise, you won't have enough magnet, and you'll either have to switch or you'll have to damage boost through the last enemies.
greatjhon tried to kill him with Shadow and got hit and finally jumped through him at that point. Explain this Airman boss a little bit, because it's like every time someone's gone through it, there's been a kind of a different result. Either getting blown back more or jumping over. It just, when I've seen it, it's all been a little bit different every time.
It's actually a really fun fight to optimize. There's 5 different tornado patterns he can give you. And you basically want to set up the fight the same way every time, because for your first slide, you're not going to know what pattern you got. But then based on what you see, you can kind of change what you do in order to optimize the fight. So yeah, I mean, basically you're getting, every time he spawns tornadoes, 5 different patterns. So there's like 125 different patterns he can give you before he jumps across the room. And learning how to like have an effective setup that works on all patterns is pretty important here.
It's interesting that they are doing this. So as far as oops, ooh,
that's not going to be salvageable.
That section again.
Yeah, so casually this can be a really bad place to die because you have very limited rush jet ammo to get through this section. They give you a lot of large refills, but until you know about this little technique where you can jump off the top of rush jet and conserve ammo, it can be very impossible actually until you maybe you can farm drops, or a lot of people will just choose to take the game over at that point to do the section again if you don't have enough ammo. But you see them both doing the same section and using the same strat of jumping off of rush jet, which does two things here. One, it saves energy, which you're going to need again in case you mess up or for any other reason. And then also it removes Mega Man's sprite from the screen when you jump off the top, and that gives you less slowdown. Nice. They both did a very, very similar giant met kill. I'm assuming it was Hodarubi, but I want to give a big shout out to whoever decided to use snakes here, because it's not an obvious strat, but it's the fastest one that we found to do this section. And snake doesn't see a lot of uses in the run, and it's a pretty cool weapon. It just lags too much usually to be useful. So to see it get use here is one of my favorite parts of the speedrun.
They're actually doing the same order of Doc Robot stages here, except Meteorwave is doing Spark last instead of first.
Oh, right. They cycled through it the same. Okay, so John is done with his Doc Robots. He's going to go into the splitless Breakman fight.
You got to it before I did.
Gotta be preemptive. If you don't want to get trolled, gotta cut that nip that in the bud. So we have greatjhon basically one full stage ahead of Meteorwave. Doc Spark was
really bad. It was like a half a stage.
Yeah, it sure can be. I think he's gonna get hit here. Yeah, you gotta switch before that. This is one of those weird areas where you actually need a weapon to clear it. Most of the obstacles in this game can be passed with Buster or Coil or Jet, but you actually need either Gemini or Shadow Blade to get by that enemy on the ladder.
Do you somehow use Snake? Like fall off, use Snake, get back on the ladder before you swing position?
Maybe. I don't think so, because I think it'll climb the wall. Someone find another weapon that'll work there, because you may revolutionize how this stage is played. Basically, you really only have two options the way it's currently. Basically, you can either do Gemini or you can do Shadow in the first half, because you don't want to menu an extra time. So if you find another weapon, there'd be a third option. I would love to see Snake on the first half of Doc Spark. That sounds fun. I think they probably tank off the Spark guys. So.
Mag-Missile maybe. I don't know. Again, falling off. Just to try to do. You can do a password to go right there to it.
So the strat in this Yoku block room here that John is skipping over with Jet used to be actually to go up to the top and do a slide jump there, where you jump off of basically nothing, like you're just kind of hanging in midair. And it's called the 5-frame jump, but we unfortunately don't see that anymore. It was kind of a tense moment in runs, but it was also just a really big meme in Classic Mega, the 5-frame jump. But now it was determined that Jet was faster, so we see Jet there now. Jet also being safer.
Awful totals for greatjhon there. 4 left, and 2 of them were the worst.
You want to explain left and right turtles?
I guess that's
give you the color commentary roll there.
Yeah, that's like there are 4. Let's see. I do this right, and you can critique me here.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, you've got 4 turtle spawns. The machine can either go left or right. If he goes right, he'll drop a turtle the fastest or the second fastest. And then if he goes left, he'll drop at the third fastest or the fourth fastest, or if you want to say it, first slowest and second slowest. You always want to see him going right. And it's the same, I don't think it's the same exact frame every time because of maybe lag frames or something like that with the whirlpools, right?
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah, but basically that's it. So when we talk about right turtles or left turtles, we want to see right turtles. That means the maker went right, and we're going to get a fast turtle. Whereas it's just a kind of a shorthand way to describe how good or bad luck we got. The more right turtles, the better. All right, let's see John set up for this easy devil kill here. We saw Maz get close earlier, but in these 2 races we haven't seen someone get it yet. That's a good first jump. So this is my advice to people that are trying to, like, because John's mashing, you can tell there was good enough to get the kill. Like when he got those shots in, his health went down very fast. But the biggest trick in getting from like having good mashing to actually getting the kills is like your timing. Just like making sure that your meteorwave takes a death. We've seen those spikes claim a couple runners now. But making sure that you're using all your available time to be shooting. So like jumping and getting that first Shadow Blade in as soon as he opens his eye, and then after you take damage, as soon as your knockback frames in, you want to be jumping and shooting again. And so John was just a little slow on his jumps, but his mashing was plenty good enough to get it.
It looked like he wasn't perpendicular to the eye. He was a little bit offset to the left. Did that matter at all?
No, if you're offset to the left, that's actually good, because then when you get hit, you'll be slightly offset to the right. The goal of the setup is to just be able to hold straight up. It won't like actually change how quickly the Shadow Blade will hit his hitbox, because his hitbox is square. It's not a circle, or like whatever. The shape just means that you can hold straight up and hit it at the same interval.
Progress screens from greatjhon there. Nice slide that I saw.
See if he can get this Wily 3 quick kill. Looks like he's got it. Oh, we're seeing the 5-frame jump. Oh, he waited. Like to see him go for it even with the safety block there, see if they can get it.
The only reason you don't use top because it's longer to get to in the menu.
So for this fight here, yeah, the world record uses Shadow Blade. It saves very little time, probably half a second optimally, and it's a much harder fight to do with Shadow Blade. But the only reason is you can see the turtles get one shot either way. But the menu to Shadow Blade is quick, whereas the menu to top spin you have to switch a page over.
2 for 3
on the 2-frame jumps. That's solid. It's amazing. How do you want, when you're sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask about Snake Man here. How do you want the refight to go? What do you want his pattern to be?
You know what? It depends on how you fight him. So I think optimally, I think the person who has the best snake refight is Prizzy, and he wants the pattern, I believe, where he shoots snakes from the left side. Whereas that's actually probably my least favorite pattern. And so yeah, it really depends. Prizzy's fight, the benefit to it is if he comes all the way to the left, it doesn't take damage from it. Whereas the one where you just stay at the left wall and take damage from him is a lot easier to do. But taking damage means you also have to collect extra health. By the way, I'm seeing Meteor when he does page turns on the menu, go all the way over to next and then hit start and go back. And you can actually change pages on the menu with the B button, which a lot of people don't know. Oh, so Prizzy wants a no snake pattern. So where he goes to the left and then goes back. So either way, he's not taking damage in that fight. John trying to avoid missing a laser. Does a good job of it. Meteorwave kind of got stuck. Oh, he walked into the devil. I would recommend an E-tank, and he does so. Devil can do a lot of damage if you walk into him. So if you're gonna do that strat where you kind of throw diagonal Shadow Blades up towards him, you want to at least start far enough away where you don't like inch up into the devil. Got the third phase here. Oh, wow. Started... Okay, good. I was a little afraid of him walking towards the devil there at the end and hitting him, but he gets through. There's no checkpoint in Wily 2, so a death in Wily 2 is not good. But both players able to navigate it.
And what is the thing called? Boss?
Which thing?
The first kill, the first part of the final boss. I remember his name. His name is completely escaping me.
Talking about the Wily machine?
Yeah, no, after the Wily machine. The
Gamma?
last fight. Gamma, that's its name. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I kept wanting to say Kappa. That wasn't it.
It's close.
Pinbot, yeah. Pinbot works too.
So we saw the Spark strat at the start there. I think we saw Snake from both runners in the previous race. Snake takes 7 hits, and Spark actually only takes 4, so you can kill it quicker with Spark. It's just from further away, whereas Snake, you can be right next to him and mash it. And the way that Snake arcs up, you can just mash and not have to jump. So, being the US version, John's going to go for the Wily 3 kill here. Yeah, he didn't quite get it. So the trick with these type of kills is you want to pause like right after you shoot. Just give the bullet enough time to travel there. And there it is. GG. greatjhon with the win.
His second... No, he lost his last one. I guess this is a win for him. Where is it? Group D. There he is. Pretty much... He was pretty consistent, too. Actually. I got a 114 on his last race, and does... what's race spot tell him?
Let's see. Race spot's got him at a 41.25.
11-second difference. That's not much different from our previous winner. Being pretty consistent in your times. You expected in this tournament consistent times or more variety?
I mean, it really depends on the runner. But Mega Man 3 is a fairly consistent game, mostly because there's not a lot of luck involved to it. That said, it's kind of difficult, and if you're, if you take a game over or something, you can end up losing 2.5-3 minutes, without any problems. So, yeah, I don't know. It can be consistent. You'll see a lot of the best runners are, but you see also people that have very good PBs that'll be 4 or 5 minutes off of it. So,
why do they give the Mega Man 1 boss information at the end of 3?
So this is part of the big reveal of this game. So these are all the robots that have been created, and so it counts them down. So you saw all the Mega Man 3 and all the Mega Man 2 robots, and then so it counts down the Mega Man 1 robots. So it's showing you all the robots that have been created, and then Mega Man is number 1, and then Proto Man is 00. He was the original prototype.
And now a ghost in the sky.
Yes, who whistles a very catchy theme song.
Some Snake Man strats on Gemini.
Yeah, so Snake actually kills Gemini in 6 hits versus if you use Gemini, kills him in 7. So it's a little quicker, but we typically see Gemini used there because it can also be used against Needleman, so you can cut out an extra weapon swap. Nice. When meteorwave has gotten in the danger zone, he's been very good about safeguarding his health. He's had a lot of clutch boss fights. Oh, just missed that last one.
It'll come
back. That was looking like a really good fight. Yeah, came and went again. So, okay, this is a really tricky thing. When you miss a laser, so it goes off the screen, but for some reason, it's still active, even though you can't see it. So a lot of people, they'll try to time their next laser with when it goes off the top of the screen, but they can't do that. It takes another half second. And so then they get off cycle because they're trying to line up a shot, and the shot doesn't come out when they're expecting. And then that's why you see chained Nadua lasers there so often. is because they're expecting to be able to fire one and not able to.
It just kind of panic and hit the button again. So
yeah, and then you're like, oh no, go, and you just keep pushing it, and it doesn't end up at the right timing. So meteorwave doesn't look like he's going to end up too far from his PB here either.
What was his PB again?
I think it was like a 45-30 or 45-40 or something like that. So he's probably going to be within a minute of it. And again, like if you're within a minute of your PB on a race time, that's what I would always consider a good race. I'm ecstatic when I get a race time that close to my PB. And we've seen, people be, for the most part, really close to the PBs in these races. Okay, so...
Timing thing again, right?
What's that?
Usually, because he did the quick kill with the snakes underneath, but him jumping down happened a bit faster.
One hit.
Oh, one hit difference.
One hit left. So if you're going to do the Rush Jet second phase, I would recommend starting with Spark, because if you do Snake first, then you got to get out of there. You're probably going to take a hit, and then you have to. And then by the time you switch to Jet, I think you're usually better off just being at a distance already and starting with Spark. But it's probably not a huge.
I think he was trying to do the Snake strat though.
Maybe just missed the setup because he's getting the first phase. Oh, he's going for it. Oh, maybe not. I don't know, because he's not firing the lag snakes, so it looks to me like he's just taking the hit. Because he did the same thing there, but... Learned his lesson is staying away from the body of the Wily machine there, because it can do quite a lot of damage. And so we just got Gamma, and again, being the US version, we probably will see the Wily 3 version of the kill. We do see some people like kill him with snakes from the top, or 1990 strats of using Rush Check to go up to the top and killing him with topspin from above. But see what he chooses to do here. Okay, we are going to see Jet. Nice. Shoutouts to 1990. And that's it, GG.
725, I imagine, on race spot. Something like that.
47.25. That is a race PB for meteorwave.
Improve.
That's the name of the game. That's what speedrunning is all about.
Yeah. That's actually, to go through two races, one both doing the same route, and then another one doing different routes, but not the one route that we had seen already. So we've seen all three main routes of the game already in 4 playthroughs. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's kind of unique thing about the speedrun is between the robots and the dock robots, we're just going to see a lot of different routes, a lot of different ways to play the game. Most of the other Mega Man games have a pretty established route. You might have a secondary route, but here you have 4 that you're going to see in this tournament at the least. I'm not sure if there's any of the Shadow First or Snake First memers in this tournament, but yeah, we're going to see 4 routes, and so that's pretty fun. I like seeing variety.
And again, that was a Group D match. In our there are, let's see, what number is L? I think it's 12, right? 12 groupings. Mm-hmm. And this was Group D, which is the 4th group. greatjhon will improve to 1-1. And meteorwave, this was his first matchup, and so he'll fall to 0-1. And they both have Prissy to go yet to face, and meteorwave has to face Andy. Now, since this only has 4 competitors in here, one of the tiebreakers is best time, and there is a chance to increase your PB, your race, considered a race PB, and the tiebreakers. You won't be racing anybody; you'll just be racing yourself as an official, kind of no reset run. And so coming up, let's see here. We have Colonel Fatso and Smart Alex. This is a Group C matchup. This will be the first matchup for either of them. And that'll be in about 10 minutes. So we'll let there should be some music playing on the main stream. We'll let that run, and that race will begin in about 10 minutes.